An 8th special presentation.
Coming up on Art Beat Nation, learn how a single photograph can change a life.
The thought of having one of my photographs impact a child's life in that way is very humbling.
Meet an artist who creates to further a humanitarian mission.
The more I cook and feed, the more material I have to make canned art, the more I can sell to buy more food to feed more people.
An arts center revitalizes a community mentoring at-risk children.
Just a little seed of inspiration can really change a person's life, and many other people's lives too.
And an imaginative sculptor rethinks landscapes in whimsical ways.
I think my job is to do things that excite the imagination.
It's all ahead on Art Beat Nation. Funding for Art Beat Nation is made possible by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you. We now take a look at a national movement that is changing lives on a local level. The aptly named Heart Gallery captures the many faces of foster children waiting to be adopted. And in Tampa Bay, Florida, that means for some, the wait may be over.
I think that there's an art to taking a Heart Gallery photo.
You can look at a photograph and think, wow, it looks like a great kid.
The idea of the photographs are to capture the spirit of a child.
I just thought, well, if I try being myself, maybe something good would happen.
The mission of the Children's Board Heart Gallery of Tampa is to raise awareness of Tampa's waiting foster children, engage the community in their welfare, and to secure permanent, loving, adoptive families. Children that are involved in the Heart Gallery program, they're actually 3 times as likely to become adopted. When you see photographs of actual children that are living right here in Tampa, it kind of clicks something in your brain. And I think what it has done most successfully is planted the seed of adoption, the idea of adoption for people who might not have considered it for themselves.
I had tried to have children my whole life and was told that I couldn't. I decided to adopt from foster care because I had heard a statistic about how many children were waiting just here in our county. And I prayed about it and I just knew. I knew that my calling was to adopt from foster care.
I've been in the foster care for a very long time now, and now it's a time where I can leave and be with somebody that I love.
Hillsborough County has about 200 to 400 children in the foster care system at any given time. And then we feature between 100 and 115 children in the Heart Gallery. All of our Heart Gallery photographers are volunteers.
My day job is working for the Tampa Bay Times. I'm a photojournalist there. I cover a lot of sports. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the fall, it's kind of football takes over my life. But I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I shoot a little bit of everything.
Our Heart Gallery photographers pretty much come from all walks of life. They have various amounts of experience. And one of the things that I love so much about our finished exhibits is that they represent so many different photographic styles.
Photographing for the Heart Gallery is a different process than typical photojournalism. Letting the situation evolve in front of you and then trying to document that and distill it down into one image. This is a little bit different because it's more of a relationship between you and the kid that you're photographing. And so it's a collaborative process. They have to participate as well. It's not about me and the camera, it's about them and us making the best photo possible.
It really requires a lot of the photographer to get the child to warm up to them and to really get candid shots as much as possible. We really try not to go for your school photo, cheesy smile. We get a lot of those and we take those and then we just kind of work and work until we get something that feels very genuine.
Well, often a photo shoot is kind of a process. You know, it is kind of like putting layers of paint on canvas. You know, it builds as you go. Every kid is different, and so you kind of just take that into account, often I just try to find out something, what do they like to do, and make it about them and what they enjoy in life, and just try to make a fun moment.
When you're engaged with a kid and they get comfortable with you, you know when it's real, and you know when you just hope that composition and lighting and focus is all happening and that's all going to work with you, but you know those magical moments.
For me, it's about seeing life in this child. You know, their smile, their laugh. Artistically, I try to show that energy of youth. I want to capture their spirit, and in a way that you can look at a photograph and think, wow, it looks like a great kid.
It's amazing to see what these photographs can do, and it really is the power of photography and the power of this partnership that we have, and of course the willingness and the bravery of the children involved.
It's really cool. It's that you have someone that you know that will love you no matter what, that you have like somebody that wants to take care of you when you didn't have as many people that did before.
The thought of having one of my photographs impact a child's life in that way is very humbling, because that is such a huge change in their life. And as a photojournalist, as a photographer, you hope to invoke change, either in the world or in a life.
Each of the photographs represents a great potential for a positive outcome. Because once you meet these kids and those barriers break down, you just can't help but fall in love, and it happens all the time. It's like the magic of the Hart Gallery, that you'll see this face and suddenly people will tell you that they know that that's their child. I see it happen all the time.
To learn more about the Hart Gallery initiative, check out heartgallerytampabay.org. Art can have a more immediate impact than one might expect, and sculptor Alexi de Villiers is showing us how, one tin can robot at a time. De Villiers volunteers his time feeding Arizona's homeless, and then creates innovative sculpture using leftover cans. What he earns from his creations, he puts back into his mission.
I like to cook, and I like to do art. I like to make my robots. I think people need to eat above all. I mean, it's the main thing in life. You have to eat. And I feed elderly homeless people in downtown Phoenix.
They're heavy. They're about 1.5 pounds each.
To be able to feed the elderly homeless, I use the cans that the food comes in to make sculptures. I make dogs, sharks, and robots, and cats, airplanes. These cans have a story behind them. Every single one of them either fed an elderly homeless person or a battered woman at the shelter. The more I cook and feed, the more material I have to make canned art, the more I can sell to buy more food to feed more people, to buy more cans to get more money to feed more people. My name's Alexi de Villiers. I am a recycle artist. That's a leg, and then that's an arm, and that's an arm. People have called my style of artwork steampunk, but I never knew what that was until just recently. And I always thought it was just can art or recycled art is what I would, recycle art, because now I'm into just everything. And the material I get is all junk or trash or just leftover things. I see it and I say, oh, I can make something with that. Well, I have no formal training except if you'd call junior high shop class, high school shop class, formal training. I learned how to weld, learned how to cut wood, measure wood, use screws, use tools, sanders, drills, bores, everything, grinders. And now the tools I use is self-tapping screws and a drill and a pair of tin snips are the main two tools that I use. One Halloween, I said, let me make a couple funny things and put in the yard. This is an old DMV eye checkup thing. That's a toaster. That's his mouth in there and just some teeth. And those are those Freon tanks. And then the golf clubs as feet. A lot of my art is literally functional. I make toilet paper holders and all sorts of different functional things. And this is literally a functional sawfish. And then I just started to make, get smaller and smaller and smaller till I had all the leftover cans all piled up. And I just put a few together and said, oh, it looks like a robot. I cut the can in half, and then it fits right on there with 4 points. I put a screw and a screw, and then a screw and a screw, and it looks like a little foot and a leg. And then about a year in, they're all stacked in the yard. My wife says, why don't you sell some of these? So then that's where it all started. Robot sale! These are working lunch boxes. I attach heads and feet to them. You can put your lunch in it, and all you got to do is make him do like a little push-up, and you can have your lunch. And you can put your cell phone in his hand, or you can put your iPad there. And then I use a lot of Cabbage Patch dolls. I find a lot of dolls at the Goodwills and things, and I use the Barbies. I think that the coffee pots and the tea kettles are the funniest. That's just an upside down tea kettle. And I make the lamps. These are track lighting. The head is a track light and the fixture is mounted on the inside. So I just disassemble it and load it on top. And I buy wiring and switches. Toilet paper holder. Put your roll of toilet paper, put your air freshener. And some are just funny. I make the heads move. Maybe I'll make this one a sad face, so if you're not feeling good one day, you can just turn it around. Growing up as a kid in Florida, Miami, Florida, my mother had 5 kids and 1 paycheck. So my mother had to stretch the paycheck a lot, but I remember how much love went into making the food and how delicious it was, and there was always plenty. Because she would start out with dried beans, dried rice, and she'd go get a nice giant cut of meat and cut it herself, and there was always a lot of food for a little bit of money. So my wife and I, after a bunch of years, we moved out here, and then I got a job with the state of Arizona at the Veterans Home with the Department of Defense, cooking food for the retired colonels and sergeants and stuff like that. And they taught me how to cook in large portions and how to make it small so they don't really need a knife. So that kind of spilled over into the cooking now for the elderly. We saw how many homeless people there are just right here in the park down the street from us. So one day we thought, let's go buy some frozen meals and put them in the oven and take it over to them. And it came out to like $55 for 40 little frozen meals. So I said, you know what, I can do this much better and much cheaper. So the next week I went and bought rice, black beans, and a big old leg of pork, a Cuban tradition, and I cooked it up, and I was able to make 70 meals with $50 worth of stuff. So the next week I bought enough food out of my own pocket to make 120 meals, but this time, instead of going to the streets, I just went straight to the shelter. So as soon as I got there at 10:30, they were all lined up ready, so I just started to pass out the meals. And 4 years later, we've been just doing the shelter, the elderly shelter. It's fulfilling to see these people that don't have anything. They're older and the streets are tough. My future plan is I want to get one of those empty buildings downtown there and turn it into a kitchen that works Saturday and Sundays. Plus I want to hire veterans coming over now. So I want to show them, I'll teach them to cook, teach them to do things like that. I'm sure they know everything, but I know you drove a tank there. Here, no one will give you a job shoveling sand, but let's cook, watch, everyone eats. I like to cook and I like to do art. I like to make my robots. So I can keep cooking and keep making art, and it just keeps going in a circle. These cans have a story behind them. Every single one of them came from tragedy, but then it's trying to alleviate some of the tragedy in these people's lives. So, they get away from their abusive husband at the shelter, they have a nice hot meal, those cans come to me, and then I feed elderly people that don't have anything. So when you buy it, now you have a good story. This is Winston. You like Winston?
I love Winston. I
Okay,
want to buy it.
all right, he's all yours.
We'll just take this and
Okay.
go on my way.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Awesome.
To learn more, visit Fish Lips on Facebook. Up next, see how with just a little creative vision, anyone can have a big impact. Meet Jerry Stannard, the founder of K-12 Gallery and Tejas, an arts center in Dayton, Ohio, working to inspire at-risk children. Here's the story.
Dream and vision can be coupled with another person's strategic plan. Strategic plans and vision. That's what creates innovation.
Dayton is known as a town of innovation and invention, with an abundance of great engineers. But rarely do we group innovation and art together. K-12 Gallery in Tejas is working to change that.
I think what sets us apart from any other sort of center is that we're not afraid to take risks in our projects. So we have these great, really creative, large-scale projects that we do. We're fortunate here in Dayton to have so many creative outlets. We provide this one-of-a-kind experience for people, so they really can get creative and get messy here and not have so many of the boundaries that I think other places provide.
In 1993, Jerry Stannard was inspired to start the K-12 Gallery after visiting a children's art festival in State College, Pennsylvania. She was a first-year art teacher for Dayton Public Schools.
Just a little seed of inspiration can really change a person's life, and many other people's lives too, in the process. Once people are really inspired to do things, to move in a positive direction, other things come about.
The really cool thing about this program is that we have kids in here from every area, every background, every race. We serve everybody.
The depth of what we do all is surrounded by the inner city kid. And those inner city kids aren't necessarily all coming from Dayton anymore. There's West Carrollton, there's Xenia, there's Kettering, and these pockets of children that have lower resources than what we have are coming from all over. And they attend our artist in training program. And that's every day after school. We train their right brain to use their creative energy in a positive direction.
The gallery has a great scholarship program to assist those who may not have the ability to pay for an art class. Going one step further, the gallery is also in partnership with the Montgomery County Juvenile Court, encouraging youth to express themselves in more constructive ways.
HALO is the brainchild of Jerry Stannard, and HALO stands for Helping Adolescents Achieve Long-Term Objectives. Basically, at that time, the levies were failing. Dayton Public Schools was losing their arts programming, and Jerry has always seen that there has been a lack of art services for at-risk youth. So she reached out to us and had the idea for the HALO program. Judge Kuntz and Judge Capizzi and our probation directors have always been supportive of alternative programming like this. We are a strength-based court, so we believe that what works for one kid may not work for another. So if we can expose them to different elements in the community, such as arts or theater, those sort of things, then hopefully we can light a spark in them and find their passion, and in turn they start to feel good about themselves and give back to their community.
We have teams that come in and work on large-scale public art. We have about 15 large-scale public murals that went up in the last couple of years, and so we're working on our third phase this year. They learn about not only skills like team building and working in a group, but they get that one-on-one instruction.
And when they are committing crimes, they aren't thinking about the community as a whole and what they're doing in that moment. But when they come in and they do these large-scale paintings, and then we put them up on abandoned buildings in the community, they start to take ownership for their community. And we make a big deal out of these unveilings. I mean, we invite the city commissioners, the sheriffs, the mayor. We want everybody to come down and celebrate what these kids are doing. So when they see that everybody's coming out for them, they start to feel good about themselves and realize, I'm part of a bigger picture here. I can make a difference in the community.
And then when they get through that window, there's still more possibilities of that person.
They are building friendships. They are building a network system that we today don't even know how it will impact our community or the world in the future. We don't know how those connections will impact the bigger picture.
K-12 Gallery in Tejas has some big plans for their new location on Jefferson Street. It includes revolving exhibitions, new glass and darkroom studios, and a one-of-a-kind artists market.
With our new space, the walls and the space itself can be utilized by so much more than what we had in our old space. We could do large-scale installations here. We could do large exhibitions of different types of sculptures or pottery. The potential is endless, and that's really exciting to all of us. You're going to find something new, and you're going to see us reinvent ourselves, along with the help of hundreds of artists that come and go from K-12 and Tejas every day.
For more about K-12 projects, visit k12gallery.org. In our final segment, we catch up with world-renowned artist Patrick Doherty, who is busy creating one of his signature outdoor sculptures. Working with sticks and twigs, Doherty creates structures that are, on the one hand, very much a part of the landscape, and on the other, dreamlike and otherworldly.
Well, we're just right at our... I think that one thing that for an artist, they always start out doing something and then they make up the reason why later. So perhaps I've had a premonition about the environmental movement since I myself was very environmentally conscious. I'm a sculptor, so I feel like anything that I do is sculpture. We weave over them, then we can cut them loose. I had to figure out what birds and beavers already knew, and that is that sticks have a good way of joining. They entangle easily, and that's really the simplest method of joining that we've used in this piece. Generally, I'll find a place nearby, near the sculpture site, where we can gather sticks. You try to find something that where materials are being taken away or about to be taken away. I mean, I'll work with, in this case, Chinese tallow. See, so I'm always constricted by the material that I find. A lot of times I longingly think of the long sticks from the last projects or the short sticks from the next project and wish I had them all on site so that I can make the perfect sculpture. Yeah, you can feel it. The scale is everything in terms of making something feel like it sits at site well. In this case, I decided on maybe a set of hedges, a kind of a hedge garden as a basic structural thing. I laid out the footprint on the ground. I dig holes around the size of that footprint, put some structural sticks in there. Once I get a structural crust on it, then I go back as a second phase of kind of the aesthetics of it, putting sticks where they look good. I have the uprights in the ground in this case if the piece has to stand alone. Sometimes I'll use trees to work with or buildings and the railings and so forth, but if I have these upright sticks, then I pull the shape that I want initially by tying it back to the scaffolding and interweave through these uprights as though you were making a basket of some sort. It's much more elaborate than that, but still in all there's a kind of correspondence in basket making. Well, I always say the line between trash and treasure is very thin, but you got one great year and one pretty good year. They're stiffer than you would imagine if you go over there and you push your shoulder to it, which many of our visitors will try right off. Since it looks light and easy, they think, well, I'm going to see how strong this thing really is. So this happens time and time again throughout the day, people testing its metal. One of the great things about parks is that when people come here, they are on the lam. They're out here just having a good time. They're willing to take a moment to look at something. One of the great things about the work is that it's built on site, so there is a kind of visual conversation with those people who walk nearby. And a lot of times the same users of the space will follow along and have a lot of things to say about it as they go.
You're living here.
I think my job is to do things that excite the imagination. That, they have to stand on their own without words to describe them per se. And certainly you don't have to talk to the public about it. Each person at their own, within their own capacity, looks at it in a different way.
For more on Doherty's sculpture, visit stickwork.net. For more arts and culture, visit azpbs.org/artbeat, where you'll find feature videos and information on the Arizona arts scene. Funding for Artbeat Nation is made possible by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you.